I was born in 1930 in Octavio County, about 8 miles out from the Starkville city limit. And a community is now called Longview. That was during the Great Depression in 1930. And a little later on, we moved into the city of Starkville, inside the limit. My dad's youngest brother got killed in France in World War I. And World War II, I just had a lot of cousins, several cousins that was in the Navy and the Air Force and the Army. Well, it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I remember my mother and I were in a vehicle headed toward Longview to see my grandmother. And I remember it came on over the automobile radio, and we were just shocked, but that's the way it happened, and everybody was in awe. And those cousins of mine immediately volunteered. They didn't wait to be drafted, they just went on and volunteered. All of the Dixie Division had been activated, and they were on duty at Camp Blanding, Florida. And when the war broke out, the state of Mississippi declared that they needed a state guard, and they'd lower the age down to 14, 15, and 16. Of course, I lied about my age, and and I told them, that I would love to join it, and so I did. I joined. Well, I turned 14 shortly after I joined, and this was around 1944. Well, our mission was in the event of any kind of emergency, and the governor called on us to go to certain disaster areas or anything like that. That's what we would do. The big purpose that unit in Starkville served was down in Greenwood every year, the yellow bushel would overflow, flood the town, and so all of those farmers back up river, they'd have levees, to break the crop from the neighbor. And those guys would go out there and dynamite those levees, let the water off on his neighbor. And so they would call the infantry in to stand guard over those levees. And of course, they called us in as a detachment, a medical unit, to oversee the medical conditions of the soldiers that was guarding those levees. This was in Greenwood, Mississippi. There's an armory there, and there was a fenced-off area just adjoining the armory, and German PWs, prisoners of war, was there. And they had a mess hall in that encasement with the fence, and they would feed us in the mess hall, and those German cooks would cook the meals for us. And if they wasn't playing soccer, they loved soccer. Now, they'd also send the guys out to do maintenance on the highways and the bridge structures, and they were excellent builders, bridge structures. They loved that kind of stuff a whole lot better than they did picking cotton. We became friends with a lot of the POWs. They were just good people. I mean, you could tell that. And this guy that ran the PX, his name was Eddie something. He was the cabinet maker in Germany. And he could take a 200-pound man and have him to stand up on his heels like that and pick him up by his heels and bring him up just like that. He was a stocky little fellow, but boy, he was tough.